Here are the top stories for today, July 9, 2020. The Interagency Task Force allows backriding of couples on motorcycles starting July 10. The DFA expects more overseas Filipinos to return to the country as NAIA resumes international flights. The DPWH pushes through with the build projects in Caraga region. And the government expects implementation of the national ID system to push through by the end of the year. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Motorcycle backriding among couples will now be allowed starting tomorrow, July 10. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año explained that this will be permitted as long as a protective shield between the driver and the passenger is mounted between them. Año explained that those living in the same household, whether they are married or not, are considered as couples. He said law enforcers can check their identification cards and determine if they have the same surnames and addresses. The DILG has yet replied if same-sex couples are also allowed to backride. Policies on transportation will now focus on digitalisation as the country navigates the new normal. DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugada said health protocols will remain for the duration of the country's new normal, and digitalization will be the key in balancing these protocols. Aside from its industrial benefits, such as the use of robots in manufacturing license plates, Tugada said the LTFRB has also begun the use of cashless payments in public transportation. He also adds that the LTO is already implementing online registration of driver's licenses and registration of vehicles. He also cited the mandatory use of radio frequency identification, or RFID, at tollways to further lessen physical contact. For maritime transportation, electronic ticketing will be rolled out around December. Online purchasing of tickets is also being eyed for rail services such as the Metro Rail Transit Line 3.
Digitalisation. Doon po papunta at tinutumbok ng kagawaran ng transportasyon niyan.
The Department of Foreign Affairs expects a rise in repatriations as the NAIA resumes its international flights. Reports show that over 68,000 Filipinos have returned to the Philippines since the outbreak began. Meanwhile, the Labor Department says another flight to bring home the remains of Filipino migrant workers in Saudi Arabia is set on Sunday, while the remains of the 44 OFWs in Riyadh and Al-Khabar would arrive tomorrow, July 10. The two batches are part of the total 274 remains of OFW set to be flown home from Saudi Arabia. The Quezon City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit is tracking those who had direct contact with Mayor Joy Belmonte and two other City Hall employees who tested positive for COVID-19. They will undergo swab testing and a mandatory 14-day quarantine while waiting for the result. The areas of the City Hall will be disinfected, but operations will remain normal as not all employees came in direct contact with the mayor in the past few days. Meanwhile, some 672 street dwellers were rescued in Manila and will undergo COVID-19 rapid antibody tests. They were temporarily brought to the Boys Town for rapid testing, while 170 were brought to Canonigo Gym. Those who will test positive in the rapid test will be immediately placed in a quarantine facility while waiting for the swab test. The Department of Health says community transmission is one of the major factors for the increased COVID-19 infections in Metro Manila. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said community transmission started when the community restrictions eased up. Vergere advised the public to always wear masks, practice safe physical distancing, and observe home quarantine measures while waiting for COVID-19 swab test results. She said practicing the minimum health standards remains the best defense, especially among commuters, amid suggestions of random testing for those who take the public transport system. National Task Force COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said the government sought the second phase of operation concepts and plans to boost its battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. He said the Phase 2 of the National Action Plan was approved by the Interagency Task Force on Thursday, which includes 3 imperatives. The first imperative is the people's compliance and vigilance to the minimum health standard. Galvez also reiterated the need to concentrate on prevention, not only save more lives, but also save our critical resources. He also pointed out that the need to increase the capacity of the national government and the LGUs to address and manage cases in order to minimize the fatality rate and deaths.
Unity of effort and collective leadership are key to our success. Our local leaders should be with us together with the private sector. So yun po ang kailangan po natin, kailangan po magkaisa. If we address the rate of death, we can open our economy. Yun po ang pinaka-ultimate objective po natin.
Still to come, the DPWH pushes through with the Build projects in Caraga region. Churches in areas under GCQ are allowed to welcome 10% of their capacity starting July 10. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Flagship projects in Caraga region is moving forward despite the COVID-19 pandemic. DPWH is implementing various infrastructure projects in the 5 provinces and 6 cities in the region under the Build program. These include the east-west lateral road that will connect the provinces of Agusan del Sur to Bukidnon and the Buenavista Lawan boundary Bukidnon Road. Once completed, full-blown economic and tourism activities are seen in this area, which will connect Caraga region to the Northern Mindanao region or Region 10. Road network passing the mountainous areas will also promote biodiversity in the northeastern and northern Mindanao corridor and boost ecotourism, agriculture, industry, and domestic trade. Starting tomorrow, churches in areas placed under the general community quarantine will be allowed to accommodate 10% of the church's capacity. In Manila, the Catholic Church will allow around 200 people inside the church. Quiapo Church Rector Monsignor Hernando Coronel welcomed the government's decision to allow religious activities in GCQ areas. Monsignor Coronel said they will ensure that the safety protocols are observed at all times, such as implementation of strict social distancing, temperature checking, wearing of masks, and hand sanitizing. Pews will also be regularly disinfected, as well as the equipment used during the online activities of the church. The Department of Tourism is now crafting health and safety protocols for tourist destinations catering to businesses, also known as meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, or MICE. Tourism Undersecretary Arturo Boncato Jr. said they will issue guidelines for meeting facilities, travel and tours, tour guides, and even island and beach destinations and tourist attractions. DOT Chief Bernadette Romulo Puyat earlier called for collective efforts to boost the MICE destinations, especially now that the industry suffered major losses due to COVID-19 pandemic. She said the only way to survive the future is to follow the new norms. In the previous weeks, the DOT has issued guidelines for the operations of dine-in and accommodation establishments, as well as for the resumption of transport services in domestic tourism sites. A Partylist lawmaker suggests establishing drive-through services and pickup points in supermarkets to reduce the risk of exposure to COVID-19. ACT-CIS Representative Nina Taduran said, while physical distancing rules are enforced in these establishments, there is still a possibility of contracting the virus while shopping and in line. She cited the proposed plan to establish drive-through services for all frontline services of the PNP, like gun registration and vehicle clearances. Taduran also suggested to supermarket owners to create online portals where consumers can pre-order groceries, pay in advance, and pick them up in the proposed drive-through section. Those without cars could pick up their purchased items from the grocery counters. She noted that the proposal just requires the cooperation of the supermarket owners. The Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, has ordered power distributors to refund to its customers the overpayments and other charges which are supposed to be suspended amid the implementation of community quarantine measures. The ERC directed distribution, utilities, and electric cooperatives to cost the refund of feed-in tariff allowance, or FIT-all, as well as the Universal Charge, Environmental Charge, or UCEC. The power industry regulator is directed to refund the overpayments made by consumers arising from monthly billings issued based on estimated consumption and verified against actual meter reading. They said overpayment shall be accurately and clearly reflected on the billing statement. Meralco earlier admitted in a Senate hearing that it failed to clarify to its customers what is actual and what is the estimated portions of their May billings. It says it will correct the lapse and will issue personalized letters to its customers explaining the estimated consumptions in March and April, or in some cases, in May. In our business news, the economy is starting to rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic, but returning to positive growth depends on proactive implementation of the Economic Recovery Program. Acting Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua cited the latest results of the Purchasing Managers Index, indicating that manufacturing performance improved from the contraction in April and May. Chua, also acting National Economic and Development Authority Secretary, said they are also seeing a significant part of the economy actually loosening up from the quarantine. The Philippine economy declined by 0.2% in January to March 2020, its first contraction in 2 decades, mainly due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III said the Philippine economy is strong enough to get back to its feet and achieve more once it recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic. Economic managers have revised their growth target for this year from a growth of 6.5 to 7.5% to a contraction of between 2 to 3.4% on account of the pandemic. Dominguez reiterated this is the reason why the government is firm on keeping its Build, Build, Build infrastructure program a priority. He said this program provides jobs to people which allow them to help in recovery by increasing demand and stimulating economic activities. Dominguez said they continue to work with legislators on the proposed second package of the Bayanihan 2 stimulus program. Up next, the Baguio Regional Trial Court orders the arrest of the cadets and officers tagged in the hazing and death of Cadet 4th Class Darwin Dormitorio. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Baguio City Regional Trial Court ordered the arrest of former cadets and officials of the Philippine Military Academy who were indicted for murder and hazing charges over the death of Cadet 4th Class Darwin Dormitorio. The court did not recommend bail for former cadets Shalimar Imperial Jr. and Felix Lumbag Jr., while the bail of 200,000 pesos each was recommended for military doctors Captain Flor Apple Apostol, Major Maria Ofelia Beloy, and Lieutenant Colonel Cesar Candelaria. Court records show that Imperial and Lumbag first assaulted Dormitorio in August 2019. Dormitorio eventually died of injuries on the morning of September 19. Apostol, Candelaria, and Beloy, medical doctors assigned at the Fort del Pilar Station Medical Hospital, were also accused of grossly failing to provide adequate medical care to Dormitorio. Meanwhile, the Davao City Prosecutor's Office dismissed criminal complaints against Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Pastor Apollo Kibuloy and 5 other members of the religious sect. The complaints for rape, trafficking in persons through sexual abuse, forced labor, physical abuse, and child abuse were dismissed for insufficiency of evidence, lack of jurisdiction, prescription, and lack of probable cause. The complainant in the case, Blenda Portugal, said she, along with her sister Elaine, experienced these abuses after they joined the group as children in 2012. As part of efforts to help Mindanaoans cope with the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has brought aid to internally displaced residents in Marawi City and other Maranao communities. More on this from Christine Lynn Viajante.
The COVID-19 pandemic can't hinder the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process from giving aid to Maranao communities in Marawi and Lanao provinces. This is through their annual program dubbed as Operation Pakikiisa para sa Pamayanan. Vulnerable sectors like Marawi's internally displaced families and LTG communities are given aid. IDPs from Matungao, Lanao del Norte were thankful to be the first ones to receive this assistance.
Nagpapasalamat po kami kay God na dumating itong taga-UPAP sa Task Force Bangon Marawi. Nagpapasalamat kami sa inyo dahil dumating kayo ngayon at nakita namin yung tulong namin sa inyo. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Each of the 1,971 beneficiary families received 20 kilograms of commercial rice, assorted grocery items, and a hygiene kit.
Every year kasi nagsusupport kami sa Ramadan, sa Idil Adha. Ngayon, hindi man yun natuloy because of the COVID. So yung support para doon, ito na yung pinabigay natin. Operation pati isa para sa pamayanan.
Meanwhile, the 4th Mechanized Infantry Battalion, LGU Matungao, and a non-government organization pushes on resolving the water supply problem of the area. With Task Force Bangon Marawi and OPAP as witnesses, the three parties signed a memorandum of agreement as a nod of their commitment to help the affected IDP community.
Kanina, nag-peace conversation tayo and nagkasundo na yung LGU pati yung administrator dito and LGU is supporting them na. Kaya doon sa MOA, ang LGU would maintain itong tubig dito and then ang ACTED, isang NGO, would provide yung necessary financing para sa pagtakbo nito, like water pumps, mga ganyan. Ang Port Neck, isang principal doon sa signing ng MOA, ang nagpo-provide, nagdadala ng water dito. And also yung MOA signing was facilitated din po ng Port Neck.
For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lin Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
In our foreign news, President Donald Trump's administration has officially withdrawn the United States from the World Health Organization at the height of the COVID-19 outbreak. Democrat Senator Robert Menendez confirmed through Congress on Tuesday the withdrawal of the U.S. The move concluded months of withdrawal threats made by Trump, claiming the organization showed a slow response against a pandemic that originated in Wuhan, China. Menendez criticized the withdrawal, saying it leaves Americans sick and the U.S. isolated. For its part, the WHO on Wednesday stopped short of commenting on the U.S. decision. The UN office in Geneva said the Office of the Secretary General had been notified by the U.S. that it planned to withdraw from the WHO effective July 6, 2021. The WHO, which employs several high-ranking American doctors and scientists, said it had no further information and would not comment further. In sports, the Philippine Sports Commission and Philippine Olympic Committee agreed to endorse the resumption of training for the Tokyo Olympics. During the PSC board meeting on Tuesday, the officials discussed plans to resume the training of pole vaulter Ernest Obiena, gymnast Carlos Yulo, and boxers Yumir Marshall and Irish Magno, as well as those who will compete in the qualifiers. PSC Officer in Charge Commissioner Ramon Fernandez said the board wants to leave no stone unturned to ensure the Olympic hopefuls keep their momentum. Fernandez, however, said the final decision would remain with the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. The PSC will next meet with Tokyo Olympics chef de mission Nonong Araneta to discuss the POC's projection on our Olympic bid. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The Interagency Task Force allows backriding of couples on motorcycles starting July 10. The DFA expects more overseas Filipinos to return to the country as NAIA resumes international flights. The DPWH pushes through with the build projects in Caraga region. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day, stay safe, everyone.